All right, so now here's another active listening skill and a little technique for you. And this is something I've alluded to already. It's maintaining eye contact and open body language. So what we want to try to avoid is getting all tight, and maybe instead we could get here. If you do want to cross your arms, believe it or not, this feels inquisitive, like I'm interested in what you're saying, rather than I'm blocked off and I'm defending. These kinds of body language can be make or break your conversations. If I'm standing above you while you're trying to talk to me from a seated position, you might feel a little intimidated or a little uncomfortable by my choice to be over you like that. Think about how small your kids might be, or how, even if they've grown a lot very recently, that they might still perceive themselves as much smaller than you. In that case, try to sit next to them as often as you can. Try to sit when you're in a meeting with them. Instead of side-by-side parents, one might be sitting perpendicular at the other end of the table, so that it doesn't feel like there's this extra power dynamic happening that is going to shut them down. What we want to try to do is remember that we're trying to support them in being able to communicate and help them to feel heard. So that's part of that body language. Consider where you are in space. Consider where you are in proximity. In some cases, your kids might actually ask you to move away further from you. And that, while it might on the surface feel like a control tactic, and maybe sometimes it is probably going to be advantageous for you to move a little bit further away and ask them, how is that? Is that acceptable? And maybe if they're trying to move you all over the room, you can put a stop to that. However, just making a little bit of an accommodation here and there can really go a long way. Now, I mentioned eye contact too, and I've got this great story. I went to a convention where there were researchers who were looking into how attachments have been disrupted by devices. And this is such a great one. The researcher herself was called out by her teenager because when she was at a baseball game watching him play, she was also checking her emails. He was out in left field, as far away as he could possibly be from her. And when she got back in the car with him after the game, he was furious with her and said, "You didn't watch me." And she said, "I was here, I was at the game." But from his vantage point, when he was looking for the eye contact or the engagement, the support from mom, in moments where he felt just a little insecure about being in his position, he could see the top of her head because she was looking at the emails, thereby inviting him to feel like he wasn't important in that moment, and that he didn't have just the simple determination kind of fish shake and eye contact from mom. And even though she was looking into probably how we solve for this problem, in that moment, it actually created the problem. We must be aware of whether or not we're giving the kind of attention that our kids need from us, because like it or not, we're everything to them. And when we show up and honor and respect that feeling that's in them, then our connections have all of this time to get that much more intertwined and deeper. So show up for them. Put those devices away. Nothing is as important as your relationship to them. This is family. Jobs come and go. Emails will be there in the morning. One of the other techniques that you can use here to really help to connect and to deepen right there in the moment is to take little portions, little parts of the sentences that your kids are using and reflect them back in the moment. So if they say something like, I'm just so tired. You might reflect back, oh, you're tired. And they might pause just for a second to go, yeah. And that yeah, and that dropping down is actually a processing moment for them. In some cases, they might say, I'm so happy about this party I get to go to. And you might reflect back, you're so excited about this party. And again, they'll go up, yeah. Now you've helped to reinforce this good feeling in them, and anything in between. When we do these little reflective statements, what we're actually doing is saying, this sounds important to you. In some cases, you might actually say, wait a second, this sounds like this is really important. And then reiterate whatever was just spoken. This one can be huge, and it feels a little intrusive sometimes. It feels like we're almost interrupting people, but it is actually this extension, this reach that lets them know, I'm hearing you, and I identify with where you're at. It helps them to be allowed to feel into what they're experiencing that much more. And you know what? This works tremendously also with people who are in really dark places. Sometimes we want to try to fix depression, and we really can't. But it still matters that we're there. And to say, this sounds like this is really hard. I don't know what to do. Is it okay if I just sit here with you for a while? That can be everything to the person who's experiencing something really hard. So find your way to what's important, and you'll know your kids a little better too. Because sometimes they'll tell you, no, this isn't important to me. Sometimes they'll tell you it really is. So give them that opportunity to let you know who they are by reflecting back what they say.